Hello everyone, we are back with the lookouts. So, yes, Domo Gator, I did do a little stretching while we were waiting. I was, yes, and you bite the bot bubbles in the bath. I don't know if you hear the popping noise. So yeah, a quick recap. So we are playing as Robin, a cowboy, who was asked to go investigate a town that may know about some gold somewhere and some mines. And we happened to partner with this fellow birdman who's also a cowboy. Yes, cowabunga, exactly. Like I think we're a dog or a fox or something. I forget. Some kind of canine. But yeah, we team up with him. His gang's looking for the gold too. And we ask around town. We get to know everyone. They all seem really cool and nice. And we're like, oh, maybe we could actually live here. It's so nice. But then they find out about us snooping around and they kick us out. So we're like, fuck this shit. We're gonna go kill our bosses and get the gold and figure something out. Yeah, exactly. We're smoking that cowboy ass as a cactus. Turn this into a fur. Exactly. Yeah, so it's like we did cuddle, so that was cute. Like we were huddling up in the fire. So yeah, now it's morning. Good to see that people are getting more representation in gaming. The fox people, yeah. Furry, no. I'm not a furry. I think the Japanese called them Kameko Nimis or something like that. I don't know. You rode as quick as you could down the cliff face, taking a long route around the back of the town. Climbing off your horses, you tied them up out of sight behind a rocky outcropping. Exactly, motherfucking tanukis and shit. Exactly. Them heckin' dang yokais. You started your cautious walk to the edge of the town together, cautious about being spotted. Sheriff's building was right in front of you, the squat building backing up onto the side of the desert. 2 square windows were cut into this face of the building, holes in the frame from where bars once were. I gotta love windows that have bars in them. Am I right? As you got closer, you listened out for anything that might tell you where Sheriff was. Oh yeah, the sheriff is a sheriff. Like, name, sheriff, occupation, sheriff, gender, sheriff, marital status, sheriff, formerly known as Marshal. The rhythmic tapping of wood carried on the wind to you from the front porch. Carefully, you and Joseph sidled up to the building. Sticking close to the side, you shuffled along the stone wall, cold in the shade. At the edge, you slowly peeked your head out, squinting through the morning sun. Sheriff was sitting on the porch outside, looking out into the town, cane tapping idly on the wooden boards. You hadn't been noticed yet. You pulled your head back and nodded to Joseph, him nodding back in turn. You both drew your guns. Alright, that escalated quickly. Backs to the wall and called out, Sheriff! You hear the panicked scuffling of someone getting out of their chair and the cocking of a gun. Who goes there? It's us, Sheriff. Joseph and Robin. We mean you no harm. As you heard Sheriff's footsteps coming towards you round the corner, you both put your hands up, guns hanging limply by the fingertips. You stepped back from the building and out of the shade as Sheriff came to face you, a gun loosely pointed in your direction. What am I looking at here? Why are you back? Are you surrendering? Yeah, kinda. Sheriff, we need to talk. For real this time. Oh yeah? I'm supposed to believe any collywobble you say now, am I? No, You know we betrayed your... We know we betrayed your trust. We lied to you about why we were here, but we didn't lie about the danger to the town. We're asking you for a chance to explain ourselves. Sheriff's brow was furrowed. You could see that even under the rough and tailed scaled skin. Heckin' scalies. A few moments of silence passed between you. Sheriff holstered the gun slowly and calmly, the click of it uncocking letting you breathe freely again. Come to the office then. We have things to discuss. You gave each other a look of relief as Sheriff turned to walk back. You put your guns away as well and followed the lizard round. Cool, we're not dead yet. The office was darker inside than yesterday, the morning sun not quite shining in the same way. Sheriff stood with both hands on the cane, face curious and stern, yet untrusting. So, boys, what do we need to talk about? You looked at Joseph and he met your eyes. They were darting about in the small way they do, even when you're focusing on a point. He gave you a little wink. That was all you needed. You know, wink, wink. Yesterday when we told you about those outlaws heading there, that wasn't a lie. Or I guess it was a white lie. Our gangs know about this place, and they're gonna be coming here, gold or not. So you were scouting our town out. Makes sense. Still, I don't see what's stopping you from lying about this town. You both know we can't do much to defend ourselves from a whole gang. So frankly, if I'm picking up what you're putting down, and you don't want to hurt us, just lie to them. Tell them we're armed to the teeth. Scare them off. They won't be stupid enough to still try. I guess I could, but what? Look, I appreciate you trying to come clean and help somehow, but this ain't our business, you see. It's not one gang, it's two. I'm from the Curly Wolf gang. And I'm from the Black Vultures. You're from two different gangs? Well, I'll be damned. You seem so friendly with each other. Figured you two be cuddling and shit. Like, joke's on you, sir. The thing, Sheriff, we don't want to work for him anymore. Curly Wolf and Black Vulture. We want to kill him. We need each other's help to do that. We can't do it alone, you see. Your heart was beating fast in your chest. Saying out loud, saying to Sheriff, changed things. Before you could convince yourself otherwise, you took Joseph's hand in yours, squeezing it tight as you stood next to him. So lewd, so forward. Huh. Yeah, besides, there's no guarantee we'd be able to convince them not to come here even if we did lie to them. We need your help too, Sheriff. Sheriff's face remained stern, or maybe concerned, you thought. Eyebrows flat across the eyes, thinking. You boys are sure about this? This is what you have to do? Yes. Yeah. Joseph's hand moved, ensuring the grip of his fingers interlocked with yours. Getting a little old for things like this, but alright. I can't in good conscience endanger the people in this town, but I think I might be able to help. Sheriff got up and started pacing. So you're two gangs. They're both gonna come here. Yeah, I know Curly Wolf will for sure. Black Vulture's boy, I can tell. He's itching to do something. Any history between them? Any scuffles? Any scuffles? Would they fight or make a truce if they met? Black Vulture has said before he'd fight Curly Wolf, but I don't know if Curly even knows he exists. Curly Wolf didn't work with another gang unless he had to. I don't think he'd give up this place so easily. Seems to me like them meeting up would be beneficial to your goals, don't you agree? A fight between them would be chaotic, but maybe that's what we need. Let them fight. Someone might even finish them off for us. It would be dangerous for us, though, too. Well, now, hold on. When do the lookouts get caught in the scuffle? Almost never unless we start it. If anything, we should be the safest ones of the bunch. You're right. If you can delay their arrivals, then I might have a solution for you. Clemency gets supplies monthly. They arrive by train about a day and a half's ride from here. That's where the nearest station is. Since it's a whole town's supplies, and the trip is long, everyone in Clemency goes in a wagon together. Easiest, safest for all of us. As luck would have it, that's in 3 days. So the town will be completely empty? Not a soul. I can guarantee that. We ride early in the morning and ain't back till the next day. You get your gangs here on that day and do what you need to do. Best I can come up with on short notice. That could work. Not like we have any other plans. And anything could happen, but it's better than nothing. Things were happening so fast. Sheriff really wanted to help. This was incredible. It's like, yeah, this is going surprisingly well. Was this really happening? Was this something you could do? 3 days, right? We need both people? Oops. Yep, do you think you could do that? I think we can. Joseph looked at you, both of you holding each other's hands tighter. We have to. Good, good. And thank you for trusting me with this. You took a real gamble coming back here. No, thank you, Sheriff. Really and truly. I hope to see you again when this is over. God willing, you'll make good on that promise. For sure. I think we both need to get going now. We'll be expected back today. Yeah, we need to stop riding soon. Godspeed then, both of you. Keep yourselves safe. It's like, speaking of violence, of course Kitty wants to choose violence today. He's gonna just destroy his little worms. You felt sick to your stomach and light on your feet. You nodded, Sheriff, and left, still holding Joseph's hand. Back with your horses, you made last-minute checks of your bags, ensuring everything was secure for the long trip back. 3 days from now, you'd be back. Both of you. Some part of you dreaded needing to start this journey, lingering on the feeling of standing here, not moving. So much had changed you got here. Now you might be risking it all. Doesn't feel fair. The idea of losing something you only just found, only just got the chance for. Holding hands. You shoved it down, though. The ride back was long. You didn't need that kind of worry gnawing at your heart. Pity for you that every time you saw his face, even a glance at you as you checked your saddle, it all came rising to the top once more. Thinking about all that hand-holding. Like a drowning man pushed under the waves, reaching the surface again as he refuses to sink. I think I'm all ready. Me too. Joseph stood at your side now, waiting for you to turn and look at him. You contemplated just getting in the saddle, not lingering for longer than you had to. You felt the light touch of his hand on your shoulder. Twisting, pressing your face now over his shoulder, arms clinging round his side. You were holding him before you could think. Huggy! Aw, they're hugging! Yay, they're hugging! Cowboy hugs, yay! Joseph said nothing. He did nothing too, for a moment, until you felt the weight of his arms on your backs, tightly clinging to you. Your hand took a great fistful of his clothes between your fingers where they lay as you held him tighter. He squeezed even more. Just be careful his cigar doesn't get on you. Like you don't want ashes on your clothes. That'd be a little awkward. Like burst in the flames. You wouldn't care right now if he squeezed you hard enough to break a rib. Okay, that too. Feathers on his neck tickled your face and poked your closed eye. You could feel the way his back bent as he leaned ever so slightly over you. You don't know how long the hug lasted, but eventually you let go. You could feel imprints on your clothes from where the hardness of his clothes, his buttons, his belt had dug into you. Still, you didn't mind. So you're saying he imprinted on you? Oh, ha 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 ha, funny. He held you still, facing each other, holding each other's arms, looking at each other. So romantic. Joseph's eyes flicked around your face and to the top of your head, holding his gaze there for a moment before leaning in. You felt the gentle prod of his beak on your scalp, the sharp edges tugging at your fur. He preened through a few more times, pulling gently and splitting loose the hairs to the side. Then he pulled back, his face a little sheepish. There, that's better. Need to look your best when you go back. Did he literally just groom us? Oh my god. Like, that's kind of cute. Thought your mama said it was impolite to use your beak, huh? Well, she's not here. Besides, I think you fit the, criteria. Thank you. Your cheeks were hot and flushed with what felt like all the blood in your body. You were sure you could see the same under his feathers. I'll see you in 3 days, you hear? Yeah. We'll kill those bastards. Yeah. You nodded. His hands trailed your arms as he walked away to his horse. You got up in your saddle, too, the reins familiar in your hand. Joseph trotted his horse around alongside you, facing the opposite way. Well, partner, time to go. Wait, Joseph, just promise me if something goes wrong, you'll run. Promise? Killing them isn't worth it if you die, too. If you run, I've run. They ain't worth the effort of dying. You smiled at him with the same type of smile as when you left home. Weak and worn, but relieved all the same. Goodbye, Robin. See you soon, Joseph. You both started your horses moving, gently trotting until you were no longer beside each other. You heard Joseph give a "Chwa!" and his horse set off at speed, kicking up dust into the air as you looked behind you. You set your own horse into a gallop, the rush of the wind in your ears as you rode through and out of Clemency. Back to your gang. Back to the man you were plotting to kill. The midday sun hung harsh and bright in the sky as you made it back to the camp, you and your horse both tired from the ride. The current hideout of Curly Wolf & Co. was a ramshackle affair, nestled in the depths of rolling hills, hidden from the sight of any passerby. Riding slowly in, you climbed off your horse onto the sun-baked ground and led it over to tie it up with the others. The smell of food wafted, but you could see people cleaning up already. You'd missed lunch. Damn. Where's my mac and cheese? As you made to leave the horse, all sudden thought struck you, and you doubled back to scramble about in your bag. Where was it? You hadn't left it behind, surely. The trickle of panic that started to leak into your chest thankfully stopped as your fingers felt the soft brush of what you were looking for. You pulled the feather Joseph gave you out of your bag, holding it closely to yourself. You let out a short gasp of a sigh. Whew! Oi, tomboy! Your ears pricked up and you stood up straight, as at the sound of Curly Wolf shouting at you. You hastily tucked the feather away at your pocket. You turned and made your way over to Curly, eyes down at the ground, avoiding the looks of the others. You know how things work round here, don't you, tomboy? Yes. Curly grabbed a handful of your poncho, pulling you forward, stumbling before roughly shoving you off your feet onto your back. You learned how to take a fall by now. You didn't scramble. You just let yourself lay in the dirt for a moment, waiting. Get up! You pressed your hand to the ground and got up, not too fast and not too slow. The others still got a laugh out of this routine, but you were too bored of it to be embarrassed anymore. If you know how things work, then I shouldn't have to punish you for not doing what you're told. When you come back, you come straight to me with what you found. You don't stand around playing with your little horsey. Yes, boss. Right, come on then, spit it out. I found a town, a place called Clemency. It's got some gold for mines, but no bank or anything like that. What would you say now? Curly knew Sheriff was the only person there who even resembled a lawman. He'd just go barge right in. This lie was crucial. He couldn't catch you out. Ah, yes, the art of bullshitting. Place looked armed to the teeth, even so. All the townsfolk had some way of defending themselves. No gun laws like other places. Well, shit! Was hoping it'd be a breeze. We need an easy win right now. I found out from the sheriff that the place was gonna be empty soon. You were focused on a hill in the distance, not daring to look directly at him. Still, on the edge of your vision, you could see Curly's eyes narrowed, staring at your face, studying it. How come? I've heard that they retrieve supplies for the town every so often, and the next caravan drive is in 3 days. The whole town is going to be going. It'll be empty and unguarded. The suspicion in Curly's eyes melted into a smugness, and a grin split his face from ear to ear. Hot damn! Now that is an easy win. He turned his face away from you, shouting into the air from the camp. Boys! 3 days from now, we're gonna be rich! He walked away around the camp, kept talking, hyping it up, riling everyone up for what was to come. Didn't need to listen anymore. Your job was done for now. You went back to being invisible, staying out of the way, the usual. Back at that campfire. Like save just in case. You never know. That night, the hills were full of the sound of howling, cheering, drunken songs as the Curly Wolf gang prematurely celebrated their victory. This was a bigger deal than you had maybe anticipated. In any case, your goal was the same, and they didn't know what was coming. Curly Wolf didn't know what was coming. He was the cockiest you'd ever seen him. The days after were a blur. If you weren't needed help with some menial work somewhere in camp, you were just sleeping in your tent. Gotta get on those sleepies. Trying to avoid the blazing heat, keeping out of everyone's way like you always did. Waiting, just like everyone else, for the day you'd ride out. Yeehaw. On the night before you were due to leave, you snuck out of your tent, out to where no one could see you. Away from the camp, the sounds of it echoing lightly through the air, you clambered halfway down a hill and sat. You didn't do this often. Who knew when someone might come to your tent needing to drag you away for something? You couldn't risk it often, being unfindable, but you thought it important enough to do tonight. To come out here and breathe the cool night air, to stare into the sky, across the horizon, at the blanket of stars in the sky, trying to pinpoint constellations you were told about when you were much younger. You wonder if Joseph knew any. You didn't think about it at the time. The feather was in your pocket still. The safest place you could think to keep it. At night, when the lights were out, and the tent was filled with the sound of someone snoring, you'd hold it in your hand. Flickering through with the claw of your thumb, feeling the smoothness against your fingers, just for a bit before you put it back. It helped you get to sleep. Alright. I guess that's one way to stroke it before you sleep. The feather, I mean. I don't know what you're talking about. Again now, while you were alone and sitting under the stars, you pulled it out of your pocket. Fiddling with it in your hand, feeling it tickle the pads of your palm. Your mind wanted to wander, to think about important things. To think about all the ways tomorrow could go wrong. Well, am I dropping frames? Let me see here. Am I doing okay? Hello? Okay, looks like I'm okay. I saw OBS freak out a little bit. We're fine. To think of what might happen to you both. You didn't let it. The feather helped too. For once, you just let yourself be calm. You'll see him tomorrow. Until then, worrying would do you no good. You imagined that that was the kind of thing he'd say to you. If you were here, sitting next to you. The imagined weight of his hand on your shoulder. The thought of his warmth sidled up again next to you. I meant the stroking as a joke, please. All the things you wouldn't feel again if you lost him. You'll see him tomorrow. Tomorrow can't come sooner. It's the morning. You're awake early. You didn't sleep much anyway, as much as you tried to. The sun was as bright as always, coming through the yellowed fabric of the tent. You laid awake, waiting for others to get up, waiting for Curly Wolf. He'd start rallying guys together for the ride to Clemency soon enough. You needed to make sure you were there. Minutes ticked by and you heard more people get up, the camp coming to life once more with the sounds of work and talk. Got up and got yourself ready, sitting on your bedroll after and waiting more. Then, the voice of Curly Wolf. Alright, gotta drink some water, ready myself for this. Alright, right, boys, gather around. We're heading to the town of Clemency this morning. I need 10 or so men with me to haul valuables. Around half a day's ride from here. Who's coming to get our gold? You were all this as you were leaving your tent, making your way to the small crowd of canines. Oh, they got little masks. That's so cute. Instantly, there were people joining, eager to prove themselves, to get their hands on real gold. 1, 2, 3 already. You suddenly pushed your way through the crowd, trying to reach the front. Pushed out the edge of the crowd by huddling bodies, you found yourself standing in front of Curly. He stared at you even as he clapped the hands and shoulders of other guys walking past, joining the excitable group. What are you standing around there for, tomboy? We don't need any little pups to help shift the goods. You needed to be on this crew. You couldn't talk back to him, though. You didn't know what to say. What could you say? You just kept standing there. You think you're gonna be of any help with this scrawny stick? He grabbed your arm, raising it up and down, shaking it by the wrist. Every inch of you was screaming to snatch your arm from his hand, but you knew what would happen if you did. Like his hand don't feel like feathers. He threw your arm back at you, making you stumble a little. Go make yourself useful someplace else. I only need real men for this trip. You had to say something. You had to. You had to. You had to be there. You'll need a lookout. I was looking at the assembled group, doing a quick head count. All right, boys, that's 10. Be ready to move out in 5 minutes. He didn't seem to hear you. Your words were quiet, whispered. You tried again. You'll need a lookout, Curly. His ears twitched. He still didn't turn to face you. I heard you the first time. Stop yapping to me about bullshit. We don't know when the townsfolk will be back. It'll be bad if they come back while you're there. And even worse if there's no one keeping an eye out. Y'all have your hands full already. You heard him sigh. A little growl rose in his throat before it subsided nothing. Ugh, fine then, tomboy. If you're that eager to come, I suppose I'll have to let you. You'll be riding in the wagon. You don't need a horse. No, you didn't get that privilege when other people needed them, you supposed. The wagon was fine by you. You knew it was a punishment of kind. That you'd be riding in it on the way back too, along with everything else. Boxes and sacks and supplies and whatnot. All bumping about, hoping none of them fall over and hit you. Smacking you in the face. Cramped space with nowhere to sit alive, just standing for hours waiting for it to stop. It was like, yeah, before car sickness, there was wagon sickness. More likely to get crushed to death by it. Woo-wee! Get a move on. You followed after Curly to get ready. Of course, what Curly didn't know was that you weren't gonna be coming back here. Neither of you were. Ha 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 ha. From where you sat, slumped in the corner of the wagon, the wind whistled through the gaps in the canvas. Next to your head. Wait. Ah, yes, Domo Lemon Juice, welcome, just in time. It's like we have gone back to the base with the Curly Wolf, and we talked to Curly Wolf and told him about the people leaving towns and the caravans, so we're gonna try and get him into a jumpins'. So we're riding in the wagons. How you do? Hope y'all having a good Saturday so far. The edges flap, the wind ruffling your clothes and your fur, drying up your nose as you sit with your knees up. The wagon rocks and bumps as it's dragged by horse through the desert, and this corner is the only place you feel safe through today. Oh, well. Good for you, I guess? I hope you at least had a decent time. Oh, you're doing your first audition? Well, good luck, we'll strive. I hope your audition goes well. It was a good performance? Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's like, yeah, with auditioning, you just gotta practice and go in there and don't second guess yourself. Just let it happen. It's like, as long as you've prepped yourself, you try your best, that's all you can hope for. The wagon Rocks and bumps as it's dragged with a horse through the desert, and this corner is the only place you feel safe enough to stay. Yes, you're welcome, Wilfstrive. You could at least keep yourself steady, even as it tried to knock you about, clinging onto the wooden frame. Looking toward the entrance of the wagon, where the covering split down the middle, you couldn't see much. Or rather, what you could see were great clouds of dust, bellowing out from the wheels and into the dry air. Speaking of dry air, stay hydrated. As uncomfortable as the wagon was, at least it provided you shelter from the sun, unlike riding on horseback. The winds coursing past your ears were welcome, too, cooling your head that was swimming with thoughts. You knew you were close to Clemency now. The entourage had been traveling long enough. As you got closer and closer, the minutes stretched on. Felt sick to your stomach. Less so butterflies, more like hornets. This was going to be it. This is what you'd been waiting for. Not just for days, but years, really. A chance like this. All the anxieties and concerns you'd pushed down last night were rushing back up like geysers. What if Joseph wasn't there? What if his game wasn't there? What if you reached Clemency and Curly realizes you were lying? What if you couldn't kill them both? What if they demolished the town and Sheriff came back to find nothing left? To find you'd broken your promise? What if you were killed quickly or slowly? You'd seen Curly kill traitors before! No! The simple fear of dying took hold of your heart. The chill of the Reaper's shadow. No. This wasn't going to be it. This isn't all there was going to be. You'd see him again soon. You'd do what you had to together. This wasn't going to be it. There would be more after. It's hard for you to imagine, but you knew it to be true. There would be days after today. You wanted to see them. And if you die, at least it's for a reason. You sure as hell weren't to go out without a fight. This was a risk you'd always be willing to take. You and Joseph would take it together, and you were going to see it through. You steeled your resolve, locking the furnace of your heart so that no one may put it out. This boy is on fire! The rumble of the wagon started to slow. The rocking back and forth became gentler and gentler, until everything came to a stop with a small lurch. The constant motion that had been in your body was gone all of a sudden. Everything seemed impossibly still, like when the many conversations in the bar all died down suddenly, leaving it quiet in a strange moment. Sugar, we're going down shitting. Like different song, but sure. You heard the thud of Curly jumping off his horse and crawled the floor of the wagon to the front. Words. Curly came and opened the low wooden door, letting you slide out of the wagon and jump out. The light of the late morning sun was blinding, and you held your arm over your brow to shelter your eyes. As your eyes adjusted, the bright desert became clearer. Hazy rock formations in the distance became familiar. Walking around the wagon, you saw the shapes of buildings that set your teeth on edge. The town of Clemency. Here we are, boys! What a shithole! No one here, at least. We'll take what we're here for and leave sharpish. Won't know what hit him. Ain't that right, town boy? He slapped you hard on the back. There was an anticipation in the air amongst yourselves. This was the place they'd been waiting for. You've been waiting for it too, but the anticipation was not one of eagerness. Even in your brief visit here, many things had happened. In some way, being back in Clemency was comforting. And it's like shithole Oregon territory. I mean, yeah, it matches up, doesn't it? Despite that, you couldn't ignore the chill in your veins at the prospect of what will come next. There was no backing out now. It felt like those few times in the past when the fuse on a stick of dynamite had been lit and you were still holding it. There was only going to be a few moments more until the spark reached the end of the wick. John Wick. Because we shooting out here. Curly started walking into the town and you followed suit with everyone else, staying close behind him. Clemency was dead quiet, not a soul in sight. He sighted the town as you walked down the main street, peering through windows, drawing up plans in his head. Every building you walked past filled you with a little more fear. Yeah, that is quite the squad. He's got quite a posse. I think he brought like 10 people with him, so there's more here. Yeah, we pulling up to this town. Guns a-blazing. They got little masks. It's cute. Yeah, they got little, and it's like, I think they like put little decorations on them. Like little X's. Every building you walk past fills you with a little more fear. Still waiting for something to happen. I think I read that already. I don't know. For anyone else to appear. Bandito. Yes, exactly. They are bandits. Soon enough, Curly would want to get started for real and ask you where the goal was supposed to be. Then, at the end of the street, you saw what you were waiting for. Who you were waiting for. A hazy, clumped group of guys making their way onto the main street from the other side of the town. As they got closer, it became clearer. Oh my goodness. The figure of a tall and slender bird, with many others in tow, straggling behind him, much like you behind Curly. They got masks too! Oh my god, they're so cute! Curly stopped as he spotted the group too, staring them down. Like, oh boy, I think we're ready for a standoff. Yeah, I think so, Lemon Juice. We about to have a shootout. Now, who the hell is that in my town? You started walking again with purpose and menace, and they quickened their pace and turned towards you. You felt your heart beating in your chest now, reaching up to your throat, blood rushing, adrenaline starting to build in you. They were really here, and you could see Curly wasn't happy about it. Both sides slowed as they came closer to each other, coming to a stop halfway down the street, a few dozen paces between them. Not too close, not too far. You saw a black vulture much more clearly now. He was looking with intrigue at Curly. You looked past him, though, desperately searching the small crowd of people following in his wake until you saw the one you'd been waiting for. Yeah, I know, the violence, it makes you angry. Joseph, stony-faced and stern, blending in with his compatriots. It was almost funny to compare to the laid-back and jovial man you've gotten to know. After a few moments longer of staring each other down, Black Vulture spoke. Well, well, is that who I think it is? The infamous Curly Wolf? What's it to you? What are you doing in my town? Well, I imagine we're both here for much the same reason. I heard tales of your exploits. Can't say the same. Who are you? Not even a question mark. I'm the Black Vulture, gentleman outlaw of the... Doesn't ring a bell. The feathers of Black's neck clearly ruffled at Curly's rebuttal, but he waved it off. More fool you, I say. You here for the gold, then? Yes, and how strange that we might turn into each other like this. I'm willing to bet you're not a sharing man. Like I said, this is a Curly Wolf property now, so you best go on and fly away. No, I don't think we will be, Curly. I think it would be a shame for so much gold to be wasted on scum like you. Should keep that high-functioning beak of yours shut lest you want the barrel of a gun inside it. Let us see then, Curly Wolf. To the victor goes the spoils, and I tend to spill that tiny brain of yours across the dirt. Fine by me. Don't need much of a brain to shoot you. This wasn't how you'd wanted things to go. You and Joseph are still in the thick of it, facing each other. Thought you'd be out of the fight. The air was still. Hands came to hover over guns. Every pair of eyes trained on the opposite side, waiting. In a standoff like this, it was a test of the boss's mettle, their mental fortitude. How long would anyone last before pulling the trigger? Trying to take each other out. Being the first to take the shot wasn't always the best call, but having to react to that first shot could be worse. It was a test of loyalty, too, for everyone following them. Your underlings couldn't step out of line or take the shot themselves. The break rank early would be a betrayal, but when bullets went flying, it was unpredictable. Staying meant a risk to yourself. You knew Curly was a good shot. You had the upper hand here, but you were reminded of something Joseph told you. Black Vulture wasn't the shootist. He had someone else for that. You could brag, but he wasn't the real one. You thought about whether Curly should know. I don't know if this matters. Let me see if I can save. I mean, personally, I'm gonna keep quiet. It's like, he doesn't need to know. No, it's better if Curly didn't know about the shootist. As dangerous as it was to leave someone like that hanging during a fight, it was more of a danger to him. The seconds dragged on. It felt as though your very breath may tip the scales, just heavy from breathing the air of people who wanted to kill you. There was safety in numbers, in the crowd. Even so, you found yourself for the first time thinking about running. Never before had you considered it. This time was different, of course. There wasn't going to be a next time. Running would tip the scales for sure, but you couldn't know in whose favor. Playing it safe with the gang, or run and let it hell break loose. Again, I'll make a separate save. There we go. I'm booking it. Fuck this shit. Fuck this shit, I'm out. You had to run. Staying wasn't worth the risk of getting shot. Not here. Not this time. Across the impossibly long feeling gap between Curly Wolf and Black Vulture's gangs, you looked closely at Joseph, catching his attention. You nodded once at him, and he nodded back, understanding. If one ran, you both ran. Together. To your right side, you spied a gap. An alley between two buildings near you. We'll see if we get out of this somehow. Yeehaw. Heartbeat pounding like a drum in your chest. You set your feet steady in the dirt. You ran out from behind Curly as fast as you could, letting the momentum of your legs pounding the ground, carrying you. You were down the alleyway and out of Black Vulture's sight before almost anyone could react. Looking back, you saw Curly's expression, vacillate? I don't know that word. Between a moment of surprised anger, then a snarl before landing on gritted teeth. Curly tried, with a quick and practiced motion, to reach for his gun, but it was too late. A shot rang out, and a sharp whiz in the air was cut short by a wet thud and Curly flinching hard. That was all you saw before you took off, as did everyone else in town, it seemed. You heard the scuffle of many shoes. Curly was the most dangerous person here right now, even when hurt, so you were glad to be making distance from him. As you ran through the houses that lined the main street, many gunshots started to fill the air, loud cracks that echoed down the alleyways. You kept running through the maze of houses as far as you could get, slowing down as you reached the last of them. These houses led to a hill that sloped into the rest of town. You stopped in the shade and leaned against one of their wooden walls, panting. The fight continued, and you listened. It didn't seem like to be moving away from the street much. You would be safe elsewhere in town. You need to find Joseph now. That was all you focused on. You'd be safer together. He ran when you did as well. You slid your gun from its holster, to grip the metal a small comfort in your hand. If you followed the curve of this ledge along, you'd reach the other end of the street where Black and Co. were. Joseph couldn't have gone far. You started walking, carefully, listening and looking at each alley before crossing, steadily making your way past the houses. It wasn't long before you heard someone near you, shouting, familiar. You heard the scuffle of feet in the dust before two figures burst out from behind a house, one chasing the other. It was Black and Joseph, Black hot on his heels. You saw him grab the back of Joseph's shirt as he tried to run away. He kept running and crashed into Joseph, sending them both tumbling down the rocky incline, kicking up clouds of dust as they did. You ran over to the edge where they fell, watching for a moment as they tried to get a hold of each other in the dirt. Clothes stained with brown patches of desert dirt, their guns tossed and lay discarded near them. Joseph grabbed at Black, punching his side. You hastily holstered your gun and slid down the hill towards them, stumbling as you hit the bottom. Yeah, we gotta go help out our new boyfriend. You carried the momentum of your stumble into a run, then swung your leg towards Black, foot connecting hard with his stomach. He let out a runt on a retch, clutching his stomach, giving Joseph the chance to throw him off. Joseph rolled away on his arms and knees, standing up quickly. Black tried to get up too, despite still being winded, but Joseph easily kicked him down onto his back with one foot to his chest. Well, we got the advantage. Joseph shuffled over to you and you both stood over Black, who slowly propped him up on his hands, leaning back and looking at you. He eyed you over, catching his breath back, trying to mask the fear in his eyes with a smug smile that spread across his face. Well now, who's your little friend, Joseph? I'm Robin. I'm another lookout. So you're in league with this treacherous scumbag, Dan? What a twist! You're very much going to regret this, Joseph, when this is all over. Punishing people is so distasteful, but sometimes it must be done. Sorry, Black, but this ain't gonna get the chance. Sorry, Black, but you ain't gonna get the chance. This is the end of the line. Black's smile softened a little at Joseph's words, either not having listened or simply not believing him. Joseph, don't be foolish. Help me up and I won't punish you too harshly. Then we can forget all this nasty business. Your friend can't even join us if you'd like. Let's go take care of Curly and then we can search for that gold. You saw Joseph waver for a moment, the offer taking over in his mind, his breath hitched for a moment, stealing the resolve of his promises. You really don't listen, do you? I'm going to kill you, Black, for everything you've done. Black scoffed, brow nodding in anger and indignation. For everything I've done? You ungrateful little whelp. I'll tell you what I've done. I've been a gentleman and shown you nothing but kindness ever since you joined me. I fed you, mentored you, brought you under my wing, and this is how you repay me? By threatening to kill me? I can't tell if you're lying to my face or really just that delusional. You don't care about me. You don't care about any of us. You just like having a posse that'll talk you up in saloons and do all the work for you. A city slicker playing cowboy for the sheer hell of it. And that's with a capital H. Maybe you can fool other folks, but none of us ever bought all this gentlemanship for a second. Black's face was of pure contempt, the face of someone used to always being told what he wanted to hear. You unholstered your gun, handing it to Joseph on top of your palm. He took it, holding it by his side and cocking the hammer. How absolutely dare you! You have no idea what I've sacrificed! I gave up my life in the lap of luxury to rough it out in the desert with people like you, to live the life I was told stories about. I've made a name for myself, Black Vulture, the gentleman outlaw of the West. You're not a gentleman. You didn't do anything. Your gang made your name for you. Joseph made your name for you. He's more of a gentleman than you'll ever be. Black's brow furrowed and his eyes squinted at you, filled with the rage of a man who was never told no. The wind died down for a moment. Everything was impossibly still. Not a movement. Not a sound. The whole world seemed to take pause, waiting. The stillness was broken as Black's body twitched, and he threw himself towards his gun, scrambling in the dust to try and grab it. Joseph shot at him, missing, then shot again as Black just touched his gun, the bullet passing through his head with a spray of blood. Boom! Headshot! Woo! Black's frantic body fell limp, settling. A few moments passed, the sand under his head becoming a stained dark brown. Joseph turned to you. He was trembling, his hands fluttering. He grabbed the gun by the barrel and gave it back to you. You took it and holstered it again quickly, stepping closer to put your arm around him. I'm so proud of you. You He was warm, and as he put his arms around you too, you felt every shake and tremble of his head on your shoulder, arm tight around his back. You're all right. You're all right. Are you hurt? No, I'm just fine. Few bumps and bruises is all. Oh! These boys. He pulled back, gently grabbing you by the shoulders, eyes meeting. Are you all right? What happened? Where's Curly Wolf? Yeah, I'm not hurt. I don't know where he is. I ran before he could follow me. I think he got hit. I would say the same. He got shot by black shooters. They both tailed me after I ran too. I put the shooters down with my shotgun, but then Black was right on my behind. That was just before you found me. Right, I think we should get to the saloon. Safest place in town I can think of. We can keep a lookout for Curly. Sounds like the fight down too. You think we could sneak across the street? You nodded. Joseph picked his shotgun up and you both climbed back up the short hill, cautiously approaching the street. Well, I think that worked out pretty well. You both sidled up against the wall before an alley, staying out of sight, looking and waiting to make sure it was clear. You saw and heard no one, not from the street, and if you cut through here, you could get to the saloon quickly. Joseph thought it a safe bet, too, and nodded you to go. You left the cover of the buildings, walking close to each other. As you round the corner, you walk past the thin side door of a house. You take no note of it, or of it being slightly ajar. Not until you hear the creak of its hinges as it opens more. Not until you feel a hot, piercing pain in your side and the vice-like grip of a clawed hand on your shoulder, pulling you into the knife. You cried out at the sharp metal invading your flesh, flailing to try and grab onto Joseph, who snapped around to look your way. Enveloped in the shadow of the dark house against the midway sun, Curly Wolf crouched in the doorway, dragging you down. Without a second thought, Joseph bounded toward you both, leaping past you to bodily tackle Curly. You felt the relief and searing emptiness of the knife slicing its way out of your body, the flesh below your ribcage staining your shirt. You fell to the ground, any twisting of your body pulling at the new injury with new pains. Yeah, we got a slice then. Joseph had pushed Curly to the ground and was readily wary of the knife, but his hesitation gave Curly too much of an opening. Attacking without thought, like the hurt animal he was, he swung the knife at Joseph, and Joseph recoiled out of the door with a cry. He clutched at his eye as he fell next to you and sat straight up, taking deep, tearful breaths, backing up further. You were on your hands and knees and stood up more, hands scrabbling against the nearest wall to help you get to your feet. You reached for Joseph's hand and he eagerly grabbed you by the waist, both tightly holding on as he got up and started running with you. Traitor! You keep running, but I'll kill you! There's no way to hide in this town! You hunched over slightly as you ran, trying not to put any stress on the cut on your side. Didn't seem to be too deep, but hurt like hell. It's like a dang paper cut. But like, bigger. You ran through the many houses until you reached the main street, pelting forward to the saloon, not stopping for anything. The street was quiet. Glancing down, you saw the shapes of people tucked into doorways and behind buildings and fence posts, still waiting for someone else to make a move. As you ran to the saloon with Joseph in tow, both of you breathing ragged and your feet stumbling, you tried not to make too much noise. Leaping up the short stairs of the porch, you charged into the doors, barreling through into the dim interior. We at the bars now. Checking something here. Alright. You turned around and slammed the door shut. Give yourself a moment to breathe with your head down and hand flat against the wood. You're bleeding. You turned to Joseph, getting closer to him. His stony expression was fixated on your side, where blood continued to soak through. So are you. You reached up to his hand on his face and took it away slowly. his arm resisting for a moment before he relented, letting you look. The feathers of his right eye were stained and matted with blood. Blood seeped from a red slit that traced from his cheek up to past his eyebrow. His eye was closed, and before he could check it further, he clasped your hand in both of his. I'm alright, Robin. Don't worry about it now. We've got a fight on our hands still. Like, yeah, with Curly Wolf's still alive. He gave his best confident smile and a wink with his good eye, the reassurance somewhat lessened by the red stain on half his face. Like, I love that we only knew Black Vulture for like 5 fucking minutes. Then again, they did say, like, he didn't know how to fight, and it's like, a rich boy in a fighting town, he wasn't gonna make it. Alright, yeah, you're right. You should go hide somewhere. He's gonna come looking for us. Joseph gave your hand one last tight squeeze before looking around and clutching over the bar, hiding at the end of out of sight. You clutch. Are we gay yet? They've hugged twice now, and they've held hands, so we're getting there. Oh yeah, there was a part where while we were back at the camp with our other gang, we were like stroking the feather Joseph had gifted us. You know, interpret that how you will. Yeah, exactly. As if on cue, Curly stumbled out of the alley you'd just come from, wildly searching with his head swinging back and forth. A growling bellow broke the silence of the street as he shot into the air. Come on, boys! We've got a traitor on our miss! Start searching! It was hard to see from where you were, but a few of your fellow gang members crawled out from the woodwork. The Black Vulture gang had seemingly been taken care of already, save for Joseph and one other bird who sprang out from a doorway. You saw him start running down the street toward the entrance of town, his only panicked thought being to try and get out with his life. So much for that! Curly pulled his revolver and aimed a single shot that whizzed down the street and felled the running bird. He hit the dirt like a sandbag and lay there, unmoving. He's dead. Although he didn't see you, Curly turned to the saloon afterwards, and your eyes saw his. Whew. You jerked back from the window, head against the wall, and covered your mouth to stop the yelp you'd been about to let out. Perhaps it was just stress, the sheer animosity of the situation, but you could swear those eyes made you feel like you were already half dead. You heard Curly make a hacking cough before calling you out again. Spread out and search around. They can't have gone far. It's a tomboy and some other bird. You peeked over the windowsill again. The small group of canines left to listen to Curly dispersed, walking with their guns drawn. A couple started heading your way, towards the saloon. This was bad. This was really, really bad. They couldn't find you here. Not now. Your eyes searched around the saloon for another way out. Jeez. Before they could reach the porch, however, shots rang out in the street once again. You couldn't tell where they were coming from, and seemingly neither could the others. There was a panic as people took cover. After a few moments, you saw some fire shots back, shooting at the rooftop somewhere. Some stragglers from Black's Law must have gone on top of the saloon at some point and were now raining fire upon the street. Curly had taken cover too. He wasn't stupid enough to stand out in the open still, but as he looked around, your eyes caught upon his. This time, the eyes caught yours too. You saw the flicker of recognition as what must be beady eyes poking from the darkness of the saloon. Without hesitation, he leveled the gun up towards the window and shot. A loud crack of the wooden wall made you recoil to the floor. He'd missed, but now he knew where you were hiding. Uh-oh. There was no need to look out the window again to know he was coming, undoubtedly striding across the street towards this place. You didn't have the time to waste either to make sure. Scurrying in a crouch past the door with the bared flesh of your side screaming. You hopped on the first couple steps of stairs to the upper floor and crouched by the door, waiting. Gun drawn and mouth dry, your mind was ticking a million times a second like an anxious metronome, waiting, the short moments so long. You heard him now. The cadence of footsteps you knew well, once they kept you wary and ready and still. The thumping of wood stopped at the door. Slowly, the door on your side started to open, sunlight pouring into the saloon, and the gunshots cracking the air outside so slightly clearer. You didn't dare to move, feet planted on the stairs, your arm held close to you, and your gun pointed just past the door. Whoa. As you listened and watched, focused on door and figure behind it, you didn't expect the loud shot that came from behind it. The bullet lodged itself in the floorboards at the other side of the room, but the noise was what broke your focus. Couldn't react in time to Curly's hand sharply reaching around the door to grab your gun, roughly yanking it from your hand. You didn't hold on to it for fear of breaking a finger. Curly stepped out from behind the door with your gun held by the barrel. Dude literally just grabbed the gun with his bare hands. Jesus Christ. His own gun was pointed at your way. Arm outstretched and the revolver so close you could see the pitch black of the inside of the barrel. You chucked your gun away into the room, eyes still trained on you, it clattering against the floor and sliding out of sight. Your heart now felt like it was trying to beat out of you and disappear into the desert, like your chest would burst. The rhythm of it pumping was loud in your ears, relentless inside you, as if you'd been sprinting for hours. Curly took a step towards you, and you tried to take a step back on your own, only to fall over onto the stairs, your back colliding with the edges. He took another step, and another, gun still pointed out toward you as far as he could, and you clambered backwards up the steps. Your hands scratched and scraped the wood, and your legs bumped against the stairs as you tried to get away on your back. Curly just kept looking at you all the while, savoring the moment. His face a smile of unmatched malice, teeth bared and eyes wild. Isn't this just a turnabout, huh? The pathetic yellow belly of the gang decides to stick up for themselves for once. Only to end up at my feet once again. Quite ironic, don't you think? He let out a short bark of a laugh. Ha! I never fucking liked you. Not sure why I even kept you around. You're stupid, but I guess you have enough brain rattle around there to know I didn't like you. His toxicity is killing me. In the end, this is for the best, for the both of us. Putting a bullet in your skull will put my mind at ease with what to do with you finally. If I'd kill you before now, might have put down morale, killing a pathetic sap that did no harm. I was just looking for an excuse all this time, wasn't I? He cocked the hammer of the gun with his thumb, a theatric to strike fear in you. His hand was shaking ever so slightly, swaying. Despite playing it cool, you could tell it was an effort for him to pull it back. The click of the chamber relief in his arm. You saw now where he'd been shot. Just next to his gun arm, a small red hole below his collarbone. Gotta blow my nose. That's better. And don't think I've forgotten about the bird you ran out in here with. Once I've taken care of you, they'll be next. The panic in your heart coalesced as he spoke. You thought about Joseph. Your breath settled in your lungs for the next moment. In that moment, you twisted your body and kicked. Your legs swung through the air and your foot collided with Curly's hand. The momentum of the kick through his arm, stretching on his injury, sprang the gun from his grasp. His arm bent inwards and your foot carried the gun away over the banister to bounce and clatter against the floor. You didn't hesitate to scramble around onto your front and start trying to run up the stairs, Curly still reeling in anger at what just happened. A few clambering steps on your hands and knees were all you made before you were jerked back, your leg held aloft and dragging you. You fell onto the stairs, trying to claw at the landing you just reached. Slipping as you were dragged, you collapsed and bashed your chin on a step, teeth clattering together in your skull. Curly had a firm grip on your ankle, and the panic in your heart once again was spreading through your body like blood clouding water. Your ears twitched at a familiar sound, the sound of Curly's knife being pulled from its sheath. This wasn't it. No, this wasn't it. This wasn't how you were going to die, scrambling around on the stairs of a saloon, being pulled up by the leg for a butchering like a piece of wild game. He wasn't unbeatable. He wasn't unkillable. You saw it. He bled, just like any other mortal man. He hurt just the same as you. You hurt even more than him. Every day for years. Even now, the tear of flesh next to your ribs being pulled on as you clung to the stairs. You still have that boo-boo. Pushing off of the stairs, you balled your hand into a fist and twisted your body, carrying the momentum into your arm and thrusting forward. You focused your eyes on Curly's face and heard a crack as your fist connected with the end of his snout, knuckles hitting bone. And again, you fell onto the stairs as Curly cried out, letting go of your leg to clutch at his nose. You weren't sure if he was more hurt by his bleeding nose, or simply his pride for being caught off guard like that, but it was enough. It's like, we really walloped him. In the few moments he had reeled back, you scrambled up the stairs again, making it onto the long landing of the first floor. Running wasn't so easy, with the cut in your side and your banged up legs after falling onto the stairs. Yeah, womp indeed. Even so, you moved as fast as you could, looking for something to help, some way out on this floor. You barely had the time to think about your next move before you heard footsteps bound up the stairs behind you and across the landing. Curly was upon you again. You turned yourself, arm up, trying to shield against him as he flew onto you, tackling you to the ground. His full weight hit you like a stampeding horse, your body slamming into the wooden floor to knock the wind out of you. Your head bounced off the floor as you fell hard, thankful for the rug underneath that softened a little of the blow. On your back, your vision swam for a few moments. Coming to, you see the ceiling, and then the snarling, bloodied face of Curly Wolf above you. Damn. You think we broke his nose? We probably did. But his nose was already fucked up, so I'm like, I don't even know. He pushed himself up to straddle you, kneeling either side, pinning you down before you could think to wriggle away. You still pushed up and tried to get away, but it quickly became apparent to be fruitless as Curly just started to chuckle with a growl. Where was this fight all this time, eh? This fire and attitude. Anyone would think you'd grown a spine, finally. Might have been useful if you'd been like this more often. Not that it would change your fate now. Traitors don't get any special treatment, no matter how good they've been. Have to set an example. You know that, don't ya? Curly raised his hand with the knife in it, twisting it in his palm to point downwards and grasping it tighter. Say your fucking prayers, kid. He raised the knife level with his shoulder, aiming it at your chest and plunged downward. No thoughts could even pass through your head before your arm shot out, grabbing at the knife. Your hand slid past it and caught onto his fist, locking your arm straight, desperately keeping it away despite his immense strength. Every muscle in your arm was screaming with the effort to keep him away, shaking, the struggle to force between you swaying the knife. All the bones and tendons in your wrist felt like they were going to snap, and as Curly still pushed downward, forcing your arm to bend. Didn't want to die. There's nothing you feared more right now than the thought of metal plunging into your heart. Every second felt like it stretched on. Curly's snarling, sharp-toothed grin was gone. Now just a steely gaze that stared down towards the knife's goal. You weren't strong enough. As you kept putting up the fight, you just got weaker. And his arm got lower, and lower with yours in tandem. The blade so close now you could smell your own blood still on it. Oh? Ah! Ma! You closed your eyes. Your jaw ached from your gritted teeth. Your arm felt like it was on fire. With what might be your final breath, you gave one last hard push, stretching towards the sky, the knife edge pressed on your arm. You pushed and pushed and pushed against the vile knife, breath held deep in your lungs, a final prayer. Woo! Your arm sprang out and your eyes snapped open as Curly's arm jerked and you shoved it away with all your might. Your ears were ringing. Woo! 2 shots had gone off, and to the immense relief of your arm, Curly rolled off you, bullet holes in his stomach and chest. He tried to stay on his knees, but couldn't stop himself from falling against the wall, the side of his shirt staining with blood. Rolled to your side without another moment's hesitation, grabbing at the banister to hastily pull yourself up and get away. Quite the thrill. Curly was still bewildered, and before he could decide what to do next, you carefully kicked the knife out of his hand down the landing. You looked over the banister to the ground floor where the shots came from and saw Joseph in the middle of the saloon. One arm propped him up on a table, the other pointing Curly's revolver up to you on the balcony. He was panting and out of breath, but a smile lit up his face when you met eyes with him. Curly was still against the wall, trying to cover up the holes in his side with a hand, but it didn't seem to be trying to get away. He knew he was too hurt. You had the upper hand now. You waved over the balcony for Joseph to come upstairs. He did just that, shakily standing up and then slowly climbing the stairs, still wary of any tricks Curly might have up his sleeve. Joseph kept the revolver pointed at Curly as he walked over to you, passing it to your hands, keeping it level all the while. The metal of the gun was warm in your hand and sticky with Joseph's blood. You held it firm, wrist straight. Finger on the trigger. Pull my devil trigger. Curly's face was no longer angry, or focused, or anything else you'd ever seen. It was just tired. Defeated. Because we fucking won. He had nothing left and he knew this was the end. What else was there for him to do? He was at your mercy and it left a great pit in your stomach. A bottomless well that made you sick to think about. What are you waiting for? End it. Say your prayers then, boss. We both know you're going to hell anyway. Well, that's with a capital H. He grinned at you, weariness in his eyes, but a smugness in his smile. Don't worry, I'll save you a spot down there. Not that you'll need it after all you've done. You squeezed the trigger, slowly, and felt the click and pop of the caliber before the deafening bang that left a hole in Curly's head. Woo! He slumped against the wall and sat limply, like a child's discarded doll. I guess that's it then. Pretty much. There's still a fight going on outside, but it's not ours. You looked at Joseph, one eye bloody and swollen, stained his feathers rig, and the other wide and staring at Curly on the ground. Yes, this was very poggers indeed. Like, quite appropriate that, like, basically each person got to shoot the guy that they fucking hated. Quite cinematic. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, Kitty has emerged. What do you desire, Kitty? You have emerged from the depths known as being under my bed? Do you yearn for lap or toy? Yes, Petty Kitty. Kitty loves his pets. Meow. Oh, here he is. Yes, so here you go. Synchronized cat pettings. Yay! Now, where was I? You holstered the gun and gently touched your hand to Joseph, brushing his palm. He felt your hand in turn, fingers intertwining. We should wait up here till it's over. Safer. I think these here are the rooms Bartholomew mentioned before. Oh, well. Yeah, Kitty wants hugs. Yeah, hug the kitty. It's like, Kitty's now addicted to hugs. I don't know what to do with this man. You want to rest in here? Thought about it for a moment. Your only worry was whether you might get blood on something for when Bartholomew came back. Yeah, fingies intertwining, they hold hands. Although considering the state of the saloon already, you thought, what the hell? We'll deal with it later. Together. Alright, that seems good. Already a bit along the landing, you walk together towards the furthest room. Twisting the handle, you open the door with some haste, shuffling inside together. You turn to close the door as quietly as you could, still bumping against the frame, the handle creaking as it turned beneath your hand. You waited there, facing the door, giving yourself a moment, breathing slowly, feeling the metal in your palm, gripping it tightly. With the door closed, the peppering of gunshots from outside was much softer. You could imagine them as raindrops against the window. Yes, but don't you just love a gun storm? Nice room. You let go and turned to look around the room. You agreed. It was nice. It was bright. The sunlight skimming in through the window. Curtains open, fading onto the pillows. A clean bed, a table side, dresser. You wandered over to bed, reaching out to touch, but thinking better of it when feeling the blood sticking between your fingers. A large rug laid on the floor next to the bed. So instead you lowered yourself down to sit on it, leaning back to rest against the bed. You rested your head against it too, at least feeling the softness of the sheets brushing your fur, meeting the curve of your neck. Joseph still stood where he was, looking into the middle distance. After a few moments, his glassy stare turned down to you, coming back to life. What do we do now? We wait. Wait for the fight to die out. Once they realize who died, they should leave. Hopefully we won't be looked for. Right. He shuffled over to the bed and leaned down, groaning as he hit the rug, sitting against the bed as you did now. Sit here and hope for the best. As good of a plan as we'd had so far. After he got comfortable, he gingerly lifted a hand up to the long slash on his face. He let out soft, short groans and noises as he tested the cut, checking how bad it was. Like, you guys want to consider maybe cleaning up? Then again, this is the Old West. I don't think they understood what infections were yet. Yes, no, I know, Kitty. I give you kisses. He wants kisses. Mwah. He pulled his hand away, rubbing his fingers together, inspecting the minimal blood he'd found. Kitty, don't headbutt the mic. Kitty wants kisses from the mic, too. He's so desperate for attention. Not bleeding too much anymore. Still hurts like hell, though. Ow. You leaned forward a little to try look at him, too, but got a harsh reminder as the cut in your side flared up. At least we'll have matching scars now. How romantic. Joseph looked at you, befuddled for a moment until he realized you meant the old scar over your own eye. Well, guess it must be fate. Can't complain about that. You smiled at the thought, too, reaching your hand up a little to touch the slight slice in your side. You were lucky. Gone past the ribs, not through them. If you twisted a knife, it might have been different. Joseph reached up to his face again, still testing his eye. Hey, stop that. You'll make it worse. He caught his hand down shyly, like a naughty kid caught in the act. It's just hard to ignore. You can get patched up when all the townsfolk come back. I hope. Yeah, I'll be fine. Don't you worry. Try not to worry, settling yourself down, trying to rest. You stare at the wall in the bedroom, unsure what to think, unsure how to feel, tracing the grain of the wood with your eyes. Wonder if the numbness you felt made you a monster. Some strange lacking that left you sitting there, bereft of feeling. You know, the PTSD will probably settle in eventually. How are you supposed to feel with Black lying in the hills of the town, baking in the desert heat, probably being eaten by all other vultures? The irony. How are you supposed to feel when Curly was just a few steps outside the door, slumped against the wall? You went over and over in your mind, the knife against your arm, strained as you fought against him. You thought about Kitty, don't headbutt the mic! Kitty! Kitty, you're not... Kitty be like, pass me the mic! He knocked it over. Kitty, I know you want to say hi to everyone, but you can't headbutt the mic. Sorry if this causes any weird noises. That's enough, Kitty. You thought about how close you'd been to giving out, how close the blade had been. The cold metal threatening to spill your heart. Might have to readjust this a little bit. Okay, that should be good. You were brought back from your thoughts as your ears drew your eyes away from the wall, down to your side. Down to where Joseph's hand fidgeted, tapping against the floor. The softest of patters against the rug, an unheard rhythm from within him. His breathing caught your eye, too, the unnoticeable rise and fall of his chest, the long exhales through his nose. Your eyes continued up his sullen face, the feathers of his head subtly shaking, nerves bubbling to the surface. Yeah, we're getting pretty gay. It's like, kill the bad guys, be gay. You looked back down to his hand and found yourself reaching across, reaching out to take hold. Joseph jolted as you touched him, his hand almost reflexively jerking out of yours. As he came back to the world, he looked down. He relaxed his arm when he saw, squeezing you a little and letting you steal his hand away into your lap. It was trembling as you stroked your thumb over the feathers, squeezing his hand back firmly. Your hands moved around each other, grappling and dancing, exploring each other's fingers and palms. Good lord! They're actually making the hand... They're like... like... They're so loose. A distraction of each other's fur and feathers, just the two of you. They're wiggling the fingies. Joseph's arms being pulled away from him started to make him lean, his body subtly shifting inch by inch closer to you. He started to tilt, and his... Yeah, I know, right? At least this is cute. Everything about this game is cute. Head tilted to weighing on your shoulder with a comforting heft of weight. You laid your head on his, feather ends tickling you through your fur. He untwisted his arm into a comfier position, keeping it near. Alright, Kitty's leaving my lap. Let me readjust. Drink some water. You took hold again, holding the back of his hand, digging your fingers between his, intertwining. Again with the fingies. I don't make love, I fuck her. It's over. Now you're both still, only the small movements of getting comfortable disturb you, hands fidgeting together. They got a hand fetish. Well, I guess they do. Might be better than feet. You could argue it's better than feet. Real life, huh? Did we really do that? Nah, there's no way. We rolled up on Clemency and I saw y'all. I thought we had no shot. How'd we make it out alive? There was an incredulity to his voice that weighed on your heart. He was right. You nearly died. Yeah, our feet mostly intertwining. It's like, just imagine them playing footsies with each other. It's like, but the guy, one of them's a bird, so it'd be like a little bird footsies with like the little dog footsies. And it's like, oh my god, that would be, I'm picturing right now, it's just so silly. Nearly, but you didn't. You were still alive. You're still here. With him. I don't care, I think I care about how or the why. We're still alive and they aren't. All that matters to me is that I'm sitting here with you. And I feel how warm you are. It's almost stoic of procrastination. Yes, we are interlocking those grippers. Yes. Quite graphic. And we're not even getting a CG of it. Show us those hams! Joseph sat up at that, his head no longer on your shoulder as he turned to look at you. Looking into your eyes. You found your hand let go of his, reaching up, wanting to feel him. Feel his warmth. The way his stomach moved as he breathed. His heart still beating strong inside him, like it was reaching out to you. Quickening as you let your hand lay on his chest. Oh! You felt your own heartbeat thrumming louder now, like you had just minutes ago. Not out of fear this time. Not that kind. As you reached up past his shoulder. He closed his eyes as your hand rubbed gently up his neck. Feathers fluffing, stroking up till you cupped his face. The feathers of his face were soft, intermingling with the dust and dirt, the specks of dry blood that you felt beneath your hands. Congratulations. He opened his eyes again. Those big honey gold and brown rings that started to flick around your features, judging you, looking at you in a way you don't think you have ever been before. He cleared his throat a little, dry and unsure of his words, but wanting to say them all the same. You know, did I ever tell you how handsome you are? You couldn't help your little snort as you laughed. Oh, God. That snort hurt a little. Turning your face away, giggling over the nervous trip of his words. No, I don't think you did. Oh, come on, Robin. Looking back at him, it felt like your faces were closer. Your laughter subsided. Cheeks starting to warm as the sweetness of his words trickled into your thoughts like honey. It gets as great as this. Like, you write what you want, lemon juice. You know, I'm like, I'm just like, this is so cute. That's so cute. I love how cute they are. You found yourself leaning in, slowly, as did he, your eyes glancing at each other's mouths. The stretch of tension in your back as your head pushed toward at your hand, buried in the softness of his feathers, pulling him closer. Eyes meeting once more, just a moment before. Oh, it's so cute. They're so cute. Oh, they're so cute. I can't get over how cute they are. Oh my god. Yes, Dalma Poppy Seeds, welcome. We are still at the Ram Ranch, uwu. Just in time to see them kiss. It's like Your faces met. You pressed your lips to the end of his beak, his hot breath on your lips, in your mouth as yours was his. Like what, you don't like two cowboys smooching after murdering their bosses, covered in both the blood of their said bosses and their own, intermingling with each other? That's not cute to you, lemon juice? No! You held the kiss there, holding your lips to his, unsure if this was what you were supposed to do. Cute is when he... Now, you see, that is actually really cute. I'll give you that. They're just kissing! You've never kissed anyone like this before. You hadn't met anyone like Joseph before either. You just want to be close to him like this. Your heart was beating hard in your chest, your cheeks flushed and hot. You heard what sounded like sweeping, realizing it was your tail wagging across the floor. Oh, whoa. Like, oh, whoa, what's this? A few more seconds passed before the kiss was broken, your hand falling from his face to hold onto his arm. Well, you know what they say, lemon juice, different strokes for different folks. And this is my kind of stroking. You looked at each other with quivering breaths. You could feel the strong rhythm of his heartbeat in your hand. A big, gracious smile spread across Joseph's face. You matched it with a more sheepish one. Embarrassed, but still despite everything. Lemon, don't describe to people about the poo I took earlier. What's wrong with you? Guess you never kissed someone with a beak before? Oh, no, I haven't. Or anyone without one for that matter. Well, if that really was your first time, I got nothing to complain about. I'm just saying it was a very mammal kiss. Oh, really now? Do educate me. Well, you have a lot of lip to it, seeing as you literally have lips. Birds can't do that so well, you see. So we tend to kiss a little differently. My god, we're getting into the fucking anatomy. Your face warmed even closer. Your ears burning as he leaned in closer, talking softly. Let me show you. One hand came to rest on your leg as he leaned forward, his beak passed flush with your snout. I'm pretty sure that's called a bidet. You closed your eyes as he came closer. The whispers of his breath warmed on your face as the tip of his beak gently poked at your cheek. He preened and rubbed his beak through your fur, almost nibbling at you, feeling soft scrapes against your skin. Oh, he's grooming them again. Oh my god, they're so cute. Stop being so cute. My frames drop again. Can Twitch stop being poo? Joseph's... Yeah, it sounds like you're not liking this story anymore, but that's okay. You rest well, lemon juice. Joseph's affection continued against your cheek, the feathers of his face close to your nose, smelling of sweat and tobacco. He nuzzled through the fur of your face a few moments more, before rubbing his beak all along your snout as he dipped his head back. You opened your eyes again, bemused by Joseph's new kiss, to gaze upon his bashful face. From the blush of his cheeks and the unusual shyness he was trying to shrug off, you felt as if you'd been entrusted a secret. Well, what do you make of that? Think I liked mine better, but I could get used to those too. He slipped an arm around your back, holding you closer as your heart fluttered at the thought of familiar kisses. I will be happy to oblige. His face beamed with a warm smile, and he leaned forward to rest his head atop yours. You reached your hand across him and grabbed his other hand, pulling it onto his lap, keeping you all close like a bundle of sticks. No. Letting your mind focus on him. Feeling his hand squeeze your side firmly, squeezing his other hand back. Listening to his breathing, to the small shuffles of his clothes, to the faint beat of his heart in his chest. Your ear flicked around a little as you heard something else. Some subtle noise you wanted to ignore, focusing on the warmth of Joseph. The fight in the street seemed to be over. No longer could you hear the muffled shots, the pops or bangs or cracks that split the air. What you could hear now though, were rhythmic thuds, distant and soft, but growing louder by the second. It was footsteps. First at the stairs, but now coming along the landing, coming closer. You sat up sharply, knocking Joseph in the chin a little as you heard one of the doors open and then close. Whoever it was checking the rooms. Joseph sat up as he took note of the noises as well, realizing the same as you. Someone was looking for you, or at least someone was looking for stragglers. Your hand snapped to your gun and pulled it from the holster, aiming it square at the door. You heard more doors open and close. Whoever it was could be here in just a few seconds. The footsteps grew that little bit louder, and you found something familiar within them. There were 4 footsteps. 2 people, but there was another offbeat thump there out of pace. A 5th footstep? Question mark? As the hunters came to the door, you realized what it was. Your hand coming down, pointing the gun away. Joseph whispered urgently. What are you doing? It wasn't another footstep you heard. It was the thump of a cane. The door swung open, with 2 figures standing in the doorway. A moment of uncertainty had you pointing the gun back their way. You put it away again, though, as, sure enough, you saw who you were expecting. It was Sheriff, along with a man unfamiliar to you, a lanky, serious-looking hare who leaned in, still holding the door handle. Whoa, put that thing away there. We don't mean you no harm. Both of them had rifles slung over their shoulders, and the Sheriff's worried face turned to one of relief when you met eyes. And there I was getting worried, all twisted up, worrying about you two. I knew you'd be all right. Sheriff? What are you doing here? I thought everyone was out of town. Well, everyone is, except for us. Oh, I should introduce you. This is Matthew. He stayed behind to help me. I couldn't go with everyone else. I was worried about the town and you boys. So Matthew and I stayed here to help however we could. We were up on the roof shooting as a distraction. I hope it was of some help. Somehow I had a feeling that Sheriff was involved with that shooting. Wait, that was you? I thought you were supposed to be pacifists. Well, we didn't actually shoot anyone. We just shot near them. Trying to tip the scales in your favor and give them something else to worry about. Looks like that made the saloon a bit of a target, though. Bartholomew's not going to be happy about this mess. I'm sorry, we'll do whatever we can to help. Matthew waved it off cheerily. Don't worry, my husband's a very forgiving man, but this saloon's is like his baby. Oh, you're the husband. Oh my God. I remember. The husband. He'll want to know you're alright, but after that, he's gonna want to fix it up. So this was the husband. Was that words? No. You didn't think your first meeting would be like this. Seems like you got banged up pretty bad, too. I don't know if we should have done more. No, I think you may well have saved our lives. We knew the danger of what we were doing. Thank you for helping us like that. You didn't have to. Yeah, thanks. We owe you one. Don't mention it. We'll ask for your help when you're better, but right now you need some seeing to. Lucky for you, the town doctor's here. Where? You're looking at him. Oh, sorry. Nothing to apologize for. You're like, what the day? What happened to everyone else? We told them to leave. Their bosses are dead, and we said more people would be back soon, too. No one felt like sticking around. You're safe. Inside yourself, there was some deep sigh of relief you didn't realize you'd been holding on to, like you hadn't breathed right for days. You nodded gratefully. Matthew came into the room and started tending to Joseph first, looking over his injuries. You were both hurt, and bruised, and bloody, but you were safe now. You wondered how long it would be until you could believe that. You're not sure if you knew back then or when you realized that you'd carry the scars from that day for the rest of your lives. But you said you liked that they were matching, so I mean... You and Joseph were put up in separate rooms at the saloon by Bartholomew, who insisted you stay so that Matthew could treat you both. The month you spent resting and recovering there was full of sleepless nights. Nightmares came often, some more vivid than others. You often woke in the early morning to find you in your bedsheets drenched in sweat. Some nights you were woken by Joseph shouting. Those nights you'd sit up in bed, waiting for him to come to your room and crawl in, lying with him until he fell asleep. Told you the PTSD would eventually settle in. Other nights, where you felt shaken and sick by what you dreamt about, you'd wake him asking if you could sleep in his bed. Neither of you talked much otherwise. You kept to yourselves in your rooms resting. Doctor's orders. You weren't sure of their benefits, but Matthew brought you medicine occasionally. Often some concoction involving whiskey. Yeah. He joked about the perks of having a bartender for a spouse. The taste was vile to you still, but you found it helped just a little. It was odd, you thought, that the respite of bed rest felt like just as much work as being up and about at a camp. It sometimes felt like resting was the last thing you were doing. As the days rolled by, there did come the point you'd been waiting for, where you both were feeling fit enough to get up and do something. You still kept at the saloon, only seeing a handful of familiar faces at odd times. The saloon was already clean and mostly fixed up by the time you were recovered enough to lend a hand. You felt like you'd missed your opportunity to help out, but Bartholomew assured you he'd need help when the new windows were to be fitted. He'd also brought up that neither of you had joined in on the nightly gathering at the saloon. That now you were better, everyone would love to see you. You'd heard the gatherings all those nights you'd been resting. Attendance waxed and waned, but every night the saloon was bustling and merry. Full of people enjoying each other's company, singing songs, telling stories. The idea of being in the midst of that crowd put ice in your stomach. Joseph happily agreed to come along to the next gathering, and so did you. You knew really that it would be good to be around people. Now, here you were, standing in front of the window in your room, looking out, past the vague reflection of your face in the glass. Night had fallen. Lights and houses down the street snuffed out one by one as people left for the saloon, the downstairs filling with the town. Already you could hear the muffled sounds of mingling chatter, splatters of loud laughs that had grown familiar to you through the walls. You kept looking out the window to the dark desert, knowing that you'd have to move soon. Just waiting another second, another minute. You had to go. Go on, leave the room. Short sighed at yourself, set off, walking across the room to meekly open the door. Come on through. We have approximately 25 minutes. If. Because I'm looking at something else as a reference. You pulled it open just a crack, the warm lamp light in the saloon spilling in, and to your surprise you found Joseph standing there. One hand raised about to knock it on your door. He flashed you a little smile, clearly asking if you could come in. You opened it just enough to let him in before closing it, leaning with your shoulder to the door as he stood close to you. Now kiss. Hey. Hi. Your greetings practically stumbled over each other, both clearly antsy, trying to get some words out. Are you ready? You chewed the inside of your cheek a little as you thought. You wanted to be ready. You wanted to go down and see the people who had cared for you. Joseph was here too. It would be fine. I'm not ready either, if it helps. I figure if we dilly-dally about it, though, we'll never be ready. Yeah, you're right. You sighed, and Joseph patted you on the shoulder, a little reassurance to get you going. All right, let's go have a good time. That's the spirit. Joseph followed close behind you as you opened the door wide and stepped out. Yes, boys. Eyes adjusting from the darkness of your room. Yes, hola, hapless goblin. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good Saturday so far. We are back with the cowboys. They have defeated the bad cowboys. So now we are recovering. Yeah, how you doing? You closed the door as you left and you walked along the landing together, down the stairs, looking out over the desperate crowds. Yeah, good to see you too. Yes, yes. Clemency was a small town, but with so many packed into here, it felt like even the busiest of bars you glanced inside of before. Ugh. As you neared the bottom of the stairs, you heard a voice call out. Robin, Joseph, over here! You looked over the bar and saw Bartholomew waving at you, his arms stuck up high to catch you over the taller patrons milling past. It wasn't just him either. Standing at the bar were other familiar faces you were happy to see, namely Jacob and Sheriff. You took Joseph's hand and walked through with him, excusing your way past people to the bar. Jacob and Sheriff sidled along to make some room between them. A friendly gap for you both to squeeze into. It's good to see you well again, Robin. I found myself rather worried after what happened. I'm glad to see you too, Jacob. I didn't lose another limb, so I think I have nothing to complain about. He gave you a gentle, reassuring smile, seeming genuinely calmed by your jokey reassurance. Sheriff leaned in to address you both. It's good to see you both in good health, for sure. You'll be even better health with a drink down you. Bartholomew? That's what I'm here for! On the house, fellas, what are you drinking? Damn, really, for sure? We've been taking up your rooms and now free drinks? You're really spoiling us. You need something so we can toast your health. Go on, take your pick. Well, I think I'll just stick with the beer. Alright, how's about you, Robin? Can you do me a whiskey? Felt Joseph giving you a quizzical look. Surprised you choose such a hard liquor. Sure thing. Let me get on those. He turned and busied himself with finding what you'd ordered, and you looked at Joseph, his face still confused over your choice. What? I have quite a bit of a taste for it. Little bit of whiskey makes the medicine go down. No, I can respect it. Just didn't see it being your kind of thing. I'm full of surprises, huh? Sure are. You felt a little blush rise to your cheeks as he gave you a weary smile. Flirty. Bartholomew set down a stout tumbler of whiskey alongside the beer on the counter. And took your drinks as Sheriff started to speak. That's more like it. Now a toast to Robin and Joseph. You boys pulled off something incredibly brave, and I'm thankful you made it. Hear, hear! You went around clinking glasses with Jacob, Joseph, Sheriff, and Bartholomew before taking a sip of your whiskey. Before it even reached your lips, the smell was burning in your nose and continued to burn as it slipped down your throat. It was a pleasant burn of sorts, though. You weren't sure if that was the way it was meant to be, but you enjoyed it all the same. So, boys, I don't know what your plans are now you're all fixed up, but I thought I'd take the moment to ask if you'd like to stay in Clemency. I really think you'd fit in here. It's just an invitation, mind you. No need to give me an answer now, but just think about it for me. You and Joseph glanced eyes for a moment, both humbled and blindsided, unsure of what to say. Why did the question leave you gripping your glass, fidgeting your thumb over the rim? Wasn't this something you wanted? Thank you, Sheriff. That's a very kind offer. We'll have to sleep on it, I think. Not a problem. Just a suggestion, really. Don't mind me none. Truth be told, I can't say we have much in the way of plans as of now. Yeah, no, I haven't. Not really thought about what to do next. That was the honest truth. All you'd focus on was getting away from Curly, out from under his shadow. Now you were free, you could do anything. And yet, think of nothing. A tightness took hold in your chest. Well, if it isn't my favorite patience. Matthew came wandering over to the bar and greeted you both with a beaming smile. Great to see you up in that. All thanks to you, Doc. Oh, you're too kind. I'll drink for that. took a swig of the beer he held, as did Joseph and Kind. I'm setting up a poker game right now, so thought I'd wander around and see who's game. I'll join in. I don't think the dialogue choices really matter. But I mean, if you want to find out yourself, the game is free. Alrighty, I've already got another guy as well, so just need at least one other person. You able to sneak away from the bar, hon? He spoke past you to Bartholomew, who rolled his eyes. I admire your tenacity, Matthew, but I'm not going to join in on your poker no matter how many times you ask. Alright, can't blame a man for trying. Joseph got your eye and gave you a look to ask, you mind if I go? Wouldn't you just nudge him encouragingly with your elbow? I'm game, if you're prepared to lose. Oh, that's fighting talk. I shouldn't have known you'd be up for it. Come with me to the table. Like, Kitty just shot up. Like, what Kitty? Kitty's being a bread loaf. Joseph gave your arm a gentle squeeze before he grabbed his beer and headed with Sheriff towards the back of the saloon. You watched him disappear in the throng of people before turning back to the bar, just left with Jacob and Bartholomew. Not a gambler then, Jacob? Oh, heavens, no. Not that I have any particular objection. I'm just quite terrible at it. I have to say my poker face is quite high. You chuckled at that. Certainly seeing how it could be the case, your eyes turned down to your drink. Small talk dying away. Staring into the clear liquid that streaked the glass as you rolled it around in your hand. Were you a whiskey drinker now? You could have foreseen that a month ago. Nor could you have foreseen before that you'd meet Joseph. That you'd end up here, having left the gang, Curly gone, Ed. Thinking back on it, it felt like you were always going to be under Curly's thumb. What else was there for you? That was going to be your life until the tide of fate swept you elsewhere. You didn't think you'd ever have a chance like this. Now you have the chance to choose your life. Everything is still just as hazy. What comes next? I know that look. You turned your eyes up to Bartholomew as he put his elbows on the bar, leaning in with a friendly, knowing demeanor. That's the face of someone with a lot going on in the upstairs. That or there's something very interesting at the bottom of that glass. You thinking about what Sheriff said? Yeah, it's just, I don't know. What are your plans now? You must have some idea of what you want to do. I can't say I do. I've not thought about it, I guess. What, Kitty? You know, you don't have to stay in Clemency. You can go anywhere, really. Oh, yes, I would say I agree. Traveling is an incredible way to learn and to discover what kind of man you are. What kind of man? What, Kitty? Why are you screaming at me? He screams at me. Kitty screams at me. What? Oh, them be fine words. Taff's trying to jump me. Kitty, are you choosing violence? Why don't you play with your toy? Want stick? How about stick? We'll get it. Indeed, it is easy when young to think you know the world. Think you know yourself well. This is what I thought before I went on my pilgrimage. The man who left Pennsylvania all those years ago is not the same man who arrived in Clemency. Yeah, he's mad. He's playing with stick. He's fine. In fact, the man who arrived in Clemency and the man sitting at this bar now are not the same either. Inventing with your fellow people gives a great deal of clarity and substance to your character. I think I see what you mean. You know what he meant, of course. You'd run with Curly for years now. Who you were when you left home and who you are now are strangers to each other. You weren't sure if that person from years ago met you now, that you'd be someone you wanted to know. It's not just yourself either. You can learn a lot about someone else from traveling with them. Me and Matthew learned so much about each other on the trail, both the good and the bad. I don't think you really need to know someone until you've had to share the same bed for weeks on end. It'd be good for you and Joseph. Maybe. You can feel your cheeks turning red. Joseph had talked about riding east before, but that was more like running away at the time. What Bartholomew said stuck in your head. Do you even know Joseph? Do you really know him? You just know him as the fluffy bird boy? You thought you did, but really, you've only just met. You don't really know that much about each other. Well, you may feel things for him you never have anyone else. Gone through hell and high water to be here together. Is that enough? Is that a reason to stick together? Do you want to know who he is? Do you want him to know who you are? Kitty, are you doing a mischief? Kitty, stop doing a mischief. Come on. That's what I thought. Okay. You have no idea what the future holds. You have no idea about anything. You don't know Joseph. He doesn't know you either. You don't even know yourself. Tar was welling up inside your chest, coating your insides, making you heavy. Breathing deep, tapping your fingers on the bar. It's too warm in here. Too many people. You need some air. You feeling all right, Robin? His words snapped you out of your thoughts, but the feelings remained. You nodded subtly. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go outside, get some air. Giving them both a weak smile of reassurance, you left your drink on the bar and stepped away, passing strangers to head out the doors. The night air was refreshing as it cooled your head. You welcomed the chill breeze from the desert that ruffled through your fur. You didn't hang around long on the saloon porch, walking away into the town, leaving behind the yellow light that spilled from its windows. You left the town, too, past the sign that read its name, making your way up a path at the outskirts that brought back forlorn memories. Memories of feelings not unlike the ones you were harboring now as you stood at the top of your climb on a familiar cliff. You took slow, deep breaths of the night air, filling your lungs, clearing your head. Yeah, hey, stop being a butthead. Stop being a butthead. You wander over the cliff edge and gazed over the town, the light of the saloon stark against the inky dark. Are you going to play the toy or not? I don't know what he wants. The desert was quiet save for the whistle of wind carrying the chirp of insects. You crouched down and fell on your haunches, sitting and letting your legs hang over the edge of the cliff. It was funny to think how many life-changing things had happened to you up here. Meeting Joseph, spending the night with him, sowing the seeds of your plans to be free. Yes, seed sowing. Right. Was there some comfort in being up here, perhaps? Fond and fresh memories that calmed you, reminding you of why you were here? Still, there was a gnawing feeling in your heart, no matter how much you hoped for it not to be. Why are you feeling like this? Why are you so worried? Why are you so scared? What's wrong with you? Shouldn't this freedom you have now be a good thing? Why does it feel like everything is about to come crashing down around your ears? What about Joseph? Sweet Joseph, that you made a promise with. You let out a deep sigh. You didn't expect to be weighed down with so many thoughts tonight. This was supposed to be a celebration. Now you're up here, away from everyone, many contradictions running through your head. That's always been your answer to things. Running away. The only time you didn't was because of that promise. How stupid can you be to choose to fight and then want to run away from everything you were fighting for? You'd probably run away from yourself if you could. You just wish you could answer why. You sat for a little while. The wind up here was still a pleasant breeze. It blew past your head, cooling your warm ears, taking small grains of sand with it that floated off the cliff. Not thinking about much at all as you looked out into the night, at the distant dark blue silhouettes of hills. Howdy, stranger. What brings you out here? You were drawn from your trance by Joseph's voice all of a sudden. You were so out of it you hadn't even heard him approach. You turned and looked up at him. He was standing a few paces away, his beer in one hand, your whiskey in the other. Mind if I join you? He nodded at the ground, letting him know he could come sit. He walked over and lowered himself carefully to sit next to you, keeping the drink steady. He held your whiskey glass out to you by his fingers, and you took it as he put it on your palm. Thanks. No problem. So, like I said, what brings you out here? You absentmindly scratched the side of your glass with a blunt claw as you thought of your answer. I just need some air. Now Kitty wants to leave the room. Kitty, why are you like this? There's approximately 10 minutes left of this story, so I'm not letting him back in until I'm done. He'll live. I saw him drink some water. Yeah, it was a little stuffy in that saloon. If you ask me, we did Bartholomew a favor breaking some windows. Air out the place. You giggled a little at that. He was good at making you feel better. How are you always so charming? It seems to come so easy to you. He looked a little bashful at that comment, scratching his head, unsure what to say. Oh, I don't know. I just picked it up over the time, I guess. Helps get you out of fights and whatnot. Yeah, that makes sense. You feel alright? Didn't say anything when you left. Sorry, I didn't want to bother you during your poker game. You thought about what you wanted to say, but so many things vied for your tongue, everything swelling up inside you, chest fit to burst. You didn't know if you could admit how you were feeling to him. It almost felt too personal. It felt wrong. It felt harsh. I feel strange. That's the simplest way I can put it. He looked at you a moment, eyebrow cocked, impressed. Lay it on me. Huh? Lay it on me. I want to know what you're thinking. I know you've got stuff on your mind you ain't telling me. You blew through your lips with a sigh. Thinking about whether you should. He was right after all. You don't have to hide how you feel anymore. If you were honest, you didn't want to keep hiding it. I'm scared, I guess. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. What I'm going to do next. Everyone at the saloon was asking us about plans, and I realized I don't have any. I didn't think that far ahead. Now we're here, I don't know what to do. I feel like an animal that's been let out of its cage and gotten lost in the wilderness. Coming out of my cage, and I'm doing just fine. What are you scared of? What's the worst that could happen? I don't know. That's why I'm scared. What if I do the wrong thing, make the wrong decision? What if I decide to settle down in clemency like Sheriff said and I don't like it? Where would I go? I spent so much of my life wasted running with Curly. I don't want to lose more of it to bad decisions. I've made too many of those. I don't want to waste my life either. We can make those choices together now, though. We could turn over a new leaf. I know we could, but I'm worried about you, too. I was talking with Jacob and Bartholomew, and I realized I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. You don't know me either. Joseph's face was solemn. He just stared into your eyes, like he was trying to unpick some meaning from your expression. I've done horrible things, Joseph. So have I. I don't know that I like the person I've become after Curly. I don't trust myself. You did what you needed to stay alive. You don't have to like it. You were growing frustrated with his rebutals, like he wasn't listening to you. You twisted your body around, one leg up, facing him head on. I love you, and I'm scared of hurting you. I'm scared that the man who could hurt Curly is the same man that could hurt you. I'm scared if we really knew each other, we wouldn't be here in the first place. You're so cute. Ah. The wind whistled in your ears. Joseph's face was still, eyes squinted a little, contemplating your words. A few moments passed before he opened his beak to speak. I love you too, and I'm not scared of you. I want to find out who you are, and hope I have the courage to let you find out who I am. I'm scared as hell too. I know what you mean. Now that I'm free of the gang, I don't know what to do with myself. All I know is I want to be with you. Maybe we'll make bad choices, but who cares? You helped show me I don't have to live my life in fear, Robin. I know, it's so cute. Oh, I think if we're scared, it means we have our heads screwed on right, but doesn't have to stop us from living. We can make whatever mistakes we want. We can stay in clemency forever. We can go travel the country. I don't give a hoot. Tonight ain't the night to worry about the rest of your life. Whatever happens to us, if I can kiss your face at the end of the day, then everything'll be alright. A great wave of relief washed over you as Joseph spoke. You didn't realize how much you needed to hear that from him. A kiss and a prayer? He laughed. Yeah, a kiss and a prayer. We'll just be fine. We'll be just fine. Story of our lives, huh? He leaned in and pecked you on the cheek, bringing a blush of warmth to them that even the night breeze could not cool. Seems pretty good to me. Oh, come on, let's get back down there and have a good time. I think someone said they were gonna dust off that old piano and play us all a tune. He made to stand up, but you reached out, placing your hand over his. Oh goodness, not the hands again. Wait. Is it alright if we just sit here a little longer? Then we can go down? It's a nice night is all. He smiled, eyes softly tilting to the sky, looking to the stars. Sure is. You want to stay here a spell? That's just fine by me. As he settled back down, he scooted over closer to you, shoulder to shoulder, and you tilted your head to rest on him. You slipped your hand into his, and he held yours tightly, squeezing back between your fingers. The night may be cold, but he was all the warmth you need. You'd spent so long looking out for yourself, looking out for people who didn't care about you. Now you can look out for each other. Aww. I don't care if it's corny. I think it's cute. The end. Yay! Yeah, I really like that. I really like that story. Got everything you would want in a Western. Cowboys, guns, shooting, blazing, murdering. A lot of vivid hand-holding. I understand that such lewd behavior might not be appropriate for everyone, but that's okay. I understand. I quite like it, though. I thought that explicit hand-holding was mighty fine. But, you know, we all got our tastes. But yeah, no, this was a really cute story. I really liked it. I've been meaning to read this for quite a while. I just never got around to it. But I was like, you know what? This gay little game. Yeah, it was the perfect story. Domo Rod have mercy. I really liked it. Once again, thank you for playing. It's been a huge project for both of us. We're super proud. We've been able to share it with you after so long. Yeah, it's like I'll be linking their itch.io. For the first part, I already linked it, but I'll link it again in the YouTube VOD. And they've got a thing. If you want that. Alright, well, that's it. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for enjoying the gay cowboys. I love the gay cowboys. They were so cute. I love them. I love them very much. Alright, let me see who I can raid. Oh, let's see. How far is this person going? They look like they're gonna stop anytime soon. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll just go for it. Yes, and thank you for coming. I appreciate you guys coming and listening to me scream into the void. Alright, good night, everyone. Make sure you get to know the people that you're fighting to the death with. Yeah, I know it's a little early, but my throat is dead with a capital D. Don't worry about it. At least we finished this. Good night.